Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys had a lovely Labor Day weekend because I know that Marvel Studios and Disney did, considering the fact that their new latest movie, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, pulled in $90 million over the 4-day weekend, breaking box office records. That is something, to be happy about. I'm pretty sure that all the cast and crew right now at Marvel Studios are like jumping over the moon and partying due to the success. So congratulations to all the cast and crew members of their latest movie, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Very well deserved. And it's interesting because a lot of people projected that this movie would make around 45 million. I mean, come on, considering the state of things of the pandemic, it was a pretty reasonable guesstimate of how much it would open to, and also how movies lately have been doing. Movie theaters are still in recovery. Hey, we're still in a pandemic, right? So the guesstimate was reasonable. But the fact that it succeeded all expectations, again, in the middle of a pandemic, is something to be very happy about, very excited about. So, again, congratulations to Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Again, you guys did a well job and you earned it. Now, I saw the movie about 3 times now. Loved it. It is a top Marvel movie. It's not a perfect movie. I am gonna say that. It's not a perfect movie. My top two for me are still the Captain America movie, specifically that of Civil War and the Winter Soldier. And then my third movie would probably be Black Panther, but Shang-Chi is up there. I'm not sure yet if it's like my number 4, or my number 5, or my number 6. It's like in the on the level of, like, say, the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie, or that of, like, Avengers Infinity War or Endgame. But Shang-Chi is up there. It is up there. It deserves to be up there. They did a really good job with this movie, so they deserve it. It is a top tier Marvel movie, I'm not gonna lie. Now, the reason why I'm doing this video is because I'm here to talk about why the success of Shang-Chi matters. Why is it such a big deal? And not just that of Shang-Chi, I'm also going to be talking about the success of Black Panther that was released 3 years ago, back in 2018, February of 2018. Is the success of both of these movies such a big deal to the public? Why does it matter? So I'm here to discuss about it, and just so you guys know, be forewarned, there will be spoilers. So if you guys have not seen Shang-Chi, well, like I said, you guys been warned, there will be spoilers ahead. So I'm not going to do like a whole review as to what happens in the movie. I'm just here basically to talk about the importance of its success. That of Shang-Chi, and of course, like I mentioned before, that of Black Panther, and why it matters. I mean, number one reason is obvious. The fact that it has um, two leading actors that are of color. It is a very big deal. You know, I mean, come on, think about it. When we were all little kids, back in, say, like the 2000s and prior to that, most superheroes tended to be, white males, and it is a given. The very popular ones were that of, like, say, Superman, Batman, Iron Man, and Captain America weren't even well known yet at the time, but still, they were at the forefront in the comics. So, it's a given. That was those characters were the most notable ones at the time. It was rare to see a hero of color. It was rare. And, someone may argue, like, oh, well, what about movies and shows that, did consist of a leading actor of color? Like, for example, prior to Black Panther, yes, we had very noticeable black actors, right? You have Will Smith, you have Denzel Washington, right? Um, you have all those actors. There's so many more. Samuel L. Jackson, Morgan Freeman. I mean, who else can I name off the top of my list? You do have a list of that, right? Uh, Lawrence Fishburne. But I think the thing is, yes, these were noticeable black actors, but to see someone like Chadwick Boseman take on the lead in a big franchise of a movie with now, of course, with the name of Marvel that is at the top of its game, was a big deal for the black community back in 2018. It was a really huge deal, especially the fact that he was playing a character, King T'Challa, aka Black Panther. He was playing a black character that was regal. Because let's face it, most movies and shows usually depict black characters as, you know, kind of stereotypical, right? Not all, but most. Usually you tend to see um, characters of color, particularly black characters that are, living on the streets, or they're usually slaves, right? Slave movies, or they're servants, they're usually the maid or the butler. Um, you tend to see that, right? Not all the time, not all the time. But you tend to see it here and there frequently, right? And like I said, we did have like Will Smith and Samuel L. Jackson, Denzel Washington. They usually do play the hero in their own movies. Like I know Denzel Washington was in Training Day. He played a cop, but he played a crooked cop, right? You had, of course, Will Smith. He was in Bad Boys, which is a very successful franchise. Um, but the fact that you have this character now, Chadwick Boseman playing King T'Challa, again playing a king, someone who's regal, right? He is of an advanced African country. That that meant something for the black community, because the whole history of what um, you know, blacks in the Western Hemisphere, not just black Americans, but blacks in many parts of the world that, whether it's in North America or even South America, Afro Latinos too, it meant something for them because of course, the whole racism issue, right? So the fact to see that portrayal of a rich African country meant something to the black community. A highly advanced rich African country really meant something to the black community. And of course, when it was released in 2018, it was a cultural phenomenon. Of course, it made a huge bucket of cash. It was even played in movie theaters that the United States, American movies have a hard time getting into. If I'm not mistaken, I think Black Panther also played in Saudi Arabia, which most American movies that I'm aware of have a hard time getting into the Middle East due to political issues. But the fact that this movie played over there was a pretty big deal. So, I mean, it was something to marvel at, right? And now looking at Shang-Chi, um, even, uh, you know, Asian actors have a hard time, starring in big movies like Hollywood big blockbusters. And then again, someone may argue, oh, well, what about previous noticeable, Asian actors? And then I would say, yeah, you have, of course, say Jackie Chan, you have Jet Li, Donnie Yen, and of course the legendary Bruce Lee. Of course, yes, but it's only a small, very small percentage of Asian actors that Hollywood has. So, and plus, to have now Shang-Chi, led by Simu Liu as the main character, again, to be led in this big blockbuster franchise of superheroes, again, by Marvel, is a pretty big deal for the Asian community. Now they have a superhero with amazing powers. Now, of course, does Shang-Chi, is he a kung fu master? Yes. Someone may argue, well, most, Asian characters in media are always like, doing fights, martial arts, kung fu, you name it, they're always doing that. And, one could argue, yes, Shang-Chi is a kung fu master. Now he got, he has superpowers. He has 10 rings, right? Again, this is going to involve spoilers. He inherits the 10 rings. So he not only on top of that is an excellent fighter, but now he has superpowers. I mean, who would have thought, right? An Asian superhero with actual superpowers. So that is a big deal. So again, Black Panther meant something for the black community, and Shang-Chi means something for the Asian community. And something to note, I do see comparisons being made here and there between Black Panther and Shang-Chi. And yeah, I could see the comparisons, but both movies are written so well to attract their demographic that it works. For example, with Black Panther, you have leading character King T'Challa, right? And then of course Shang-Chi, you have Shang-Chi, um, in which both of these male characters have an excellent supporting cast, particularly that of women, right? With Black Panther, you have the Dora Milaje, who's led by Okoye, and you also have the Wakandan spy Nakia. You have the intelligent younger sister, Princess Shuri, right? And of course, with Shang-Chi, you have his best buddy, Katie, played by Aquafina. You have his, um, you know, sister who kicks butt, Su Xiaoling, right? Of course, you also have his new mentor, which is played by Michelle Yeoh, and of course, again, I forgot to mention Angela Bassett, who plays T'Challa's mother. Again, another strong woman in the film. So you have male leads who have a strong female cast as well, which helps also with the story. So, you know, positive, a good cast, a very good cast playing excellent characters that fans will now adore, right? Now we love these characters. We love what Marvel was able to bring to the table. We love that the actors and actresses that they chose to play these characters to attract, a big audience, right? And I think also, the locations of where these films take place, right? You have Black Panther, which has the futuristic African society of Wakanda, right? Again, there's always the um, idea, and I love how Shuri even made fun of it when she met Agent Everett Ross, where she's called him a colonizer, and he was so amazed by the technological advances of Wakanda because um, it was even brought up at the very end of Black Panther in one of the post-credit scenes, if I'm not mistaken, where they were at the United Nations, and one of the members of the United Nations said, "What can a African country that herds sheep, bring to the table for the United Nations?" And T'Challa just smiles, and that may be the perception of what a lot of people, usually tend to think of Africa as a whole. It's like they usually see it as a very inferior, poor continent, right? Um, but the fact that they were able to bring this technologically advanced African nation, surpassing that of, other political powers, was something that really attracted a large audience, especially that of the black community, making us feel proud of where we come from. It's something again to marvel at. So, like I said, Black Panther has Wakanda. Shang-Chi, of course, they introduced to us Tao Lo, which has these majestic creatures, which I kid you not reminded me so much of Pokemon. And so yeah, it did. It reminded me of Pokemon. I'm just saying it, but in a good way. I thought the creatures were so beautiful. I loved little Morris. He was so cute, and the Great Protector, that dragon was something to marvel at for sure. And I feel like that was a dragon that should have been in the live action Mulan. It's like at least Shang-Chi did it, but the live action Mulan did not. What a missed opportunity. But anyway, again, it was something really cool to see when Shang-Chi and his sister Shu Xiaoling were riding on that dragon. That was pretty awesome. And someone even commented, I remember they commented that it looked like a live action anime, which, as we know, anime does have, an Asian, has Asian roots, right? An Asian origin coming from Japan. So again, it was something to marvel at, right? So you can see both Wakanda and Talo getting um, theme park attractions at Disneyland or any other Disney theme park coming really soon, which I can't wait. I'll be so excited to go to a Wakanda themed Disney attraction and a Talo Disney theme attraction. It's gonna be so much fun. I can't wait to see that. But yeah, again, you have the world of Black Panther and the world of Shang-Chi again attracting audiences and critics alike. And I think what really works with both of these movies is the villain. The villain does steal the show in both of these movies. You feel for them. You really do feel for these villains. And I like how these villains kind of, I guess you could say, are really careful when dealing with stereotypes, especially that of Wen Wu's character from Shang-Chi, aka the Mandarin. Um, that was something that a lot of people were worried about in regards to the villain in Shang-Chi, because considering the history of Shang-Chi in the comics, the father of Shang-Chi was known as Fu Manchu, which, as we know, had yellow peril stereotypes, which are not good in today's time. So Marvel, I know screenwriter David Callahan, he had to be very clever as to how to make this character work. And he does. He makes it work. You feel for Tony Leung's portrayal as Wen Wu. The fact that, yes, he probably did some shady things in the past for the past 1,000 years when he's using the rings. I mean, he is leading like a terrorist organization of the Ten Rings. But then when he meets um, if I remember her name, Ying Li, right, Shang-Chi's mother, when he meets her and they fight dance, oh, you feel the romance and the tension, oh my goodness, and you see that he's falling in love with this woman and he's willing to change his ways, which is why he puts the rings to the side. But when he loses his wife, you feel his pain. You feel his pain. And he's trying to do everything he can to bring his family back. He thinks by bringing back his wife, he could also, bring his kids home too. Of course, doesn't work out the way he hopes to. And of course, Shang-Chi and his sister Xu Xiaoling are trying to tell him that. But he's just, it's basically grief. He's grieving. He's grieving over the loss of his wife. Which, of course, reminds me that of WandaVision when Scarlet Witch is grieving over the loss of Vision. And also in the recent What If episode of Doctor Strange when he can't get over the fact that he keeps losing Christine. It's basically trauma. They have a hard time accepting the fact that they can't bring this person back, and it's how they can't deal with the loss. They just can't. It's hard for them. And you feel for the character. You feel for this villain, for Wen Wu. The same thing with Eric Killmonger in Black Panther. The fact that as a little boy he lost his father, and the fact that it was his uncle, King T'Challa's father, King T'Chaka, was the one who, had to kill his brother because the brother was about to attack one of the advisors. Um, you know, he had to, stop him, which ended up him killing him with his claws. But because of that, it left Eric Killmonger as an orphan. So I mean, how do you deal with that as a kid? That is again hard to deal with. So him as a kid, he's dealing with the loss of his father. Again, notice that both of these villains, both Eric Killmonger and Wen Wu, deal with loss, familial loss. Eric Killmonger lost his dad. He doesn't have his mom there. If I remember correctly, there was like a deleted scene supposedly about Eric Killmonger's mother being in prison. So no mom, no dad. He's growing up on his own, probably in the streets. So he had to fight his way to the top, basically, to prove himself that he's better, right? So he's dealing with the loss of his parents, and then you have Wen Wu dealing with the loss of his wife. And you feel for both of these characters. So when you see these villains, you feel for them. You really do feel for them. And I think again, it's the writing that makes it work. And that's why they get so much praise. Now, again, will everybody like these Marvel movies or particularly these two movies? Probably not, and that's okay. But you can't help but ignore what a big impact both of these movies had for people of color, particularly that of the black community and that of the Asian community. Oh, guys, sorry, there's like a fly roaming around in my room. It's getting kind of annoying. But, anyways, so yeah, that is something I just wanted to discuss. And I am aware that Marvel is trying to be, more diverse with their characters. Now they introduced Monica Rambeau in the WandaVision series. She's going to be also in the upcoming Captain Marvel movie. We also have Miss Marvel, who is a Pakistani American girl. We also have, of course, Sam Wilson, aka the Falcon, who's now the new Captain America. So, Marvel is trying to push for more diversity. Now, some people may argue, is it being too woke? Is it forced diversity? I mean, I see it this way. As long as they do, it all depends on the writing. It really depends on the writing. If the writing flows for these characters and they don't focus too much on, talking about diversity, 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 and race, 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 it can work. Just let the characters be who they are without forcing, you know, again, of course, a racial political agenda and whatnot, and it will work out. Again, it all depends on good writing. And something else that I also wanted to bring up is that some people, it just came to my mind just now. Some people may argue, well, hey, before there were, um, you know, um, how can I say it? Like, yeah, like before Black Panther, we already had Falcon and War Machine, and yeah, that is true. But notice how they were always playing like the best friend to the white superhero. And even though these characters are beloved, don't get me wrong, I love Iron Man, I love Captain America. I'm especially a huge Captain America fan. But of course, they did fall into the stereotype of the black best friend. Even when Marvel was starting out, they did fall into that category. Um, so it was nice to see in Black Panther the lead of the movie be that of a person of color, a black actor, right? And also with, say, Shang-Chi. Sometimes you see an Asian character usually on the sidelines, not really out there taking charge. But here you do see that a person of color, that of an Asian actor, taking charge in the film. You do see that, and it is, again, like I said, a very big deal. And yeah, of course, before Marvel, you did have probably noticeable black actors. You had notable Asian actors. Before Black Panther, you had the likes of, like, say, Will Smith, Samuel L. Jackson, Denzel Washington, who's a really big name. Um, Morgan Freeman, right? The list could go on, right? You had some notable black actors, but to be in a big blockbuster movie like Black Panther, again, was a very big deal. Also, sorry guys, fly. Also that of Shang-Chi. Yes, you had actors like, say, Jackie Chan and Jet Li, Donnie Yen, and of course Bruce Lee. But again, to have someone, a person of color that of Asian descent, again, in a big blockbuster franchise is a very big deal. So that's why both of these movie successes are a big deal. It is a big deal for both of these communities, and I'm glad that both of them have a success story to share. Now, of course, Black Panther made a lot of money. Opening weekend made around $200 million, versus Shang-Chi only made 90 million. But hey, look at the state we're in right now. We're still in the middle of the pandemic, so you gotta put like footnote pandemic. But regardless, both of these movies had universal critical acclaim reviews by critics and audiences alike, and are breaking box office records, due to the state that they're in, but they are attracting people to the movie theaters. So, again, congratulations to Marvel on both of these movies, and of course to all the movies and shows that they have been putting out for the past 13 years of Marvel Studios. So, I can't wait for the next films to come around. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this little video. Let me know what is your favorite Marvel movie, and let me also know who's your favorite Marvel character. And if you have not gone to the movie theater, please do, but go safely. And please check out Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. And if you have not seen Black Panther, please check out that movie too. If you have Disney Plus, it's on Disney Plus. So yeah, just let me know down in the comments below, like and subscribe. And as always, take care, guys. Bye.